Hello and welcome. You're viewing the Citizens Journalist podcast, Mesa County Compass, that brings you the news that you can use from a different point of view. I'm Ruth.
I'm Lisa.
And together we are Mesa County Compass. Our goal is to create an informed, current, active citizenry armed with the facts. We will be covering what's new to you, what it means to you, what you can do about it, and provide you access to the decision makers when we can. Good afternoon. You're here with Mesa County Compass, and this afternoon we seem to have a little bit of a mix-up in our scheduling. So Lisa and I are just going to talk about some of the more important things that we feel like is going on in the city of Grand Junction and actually throughout Mesa County. So, if you have any suggestions for things for us to talk about on times like these, that we do have people that aren't able to get in, or we have done some misscheduling, we'd like to have your suggestions. So if you would please. In the meantime, welcome, Lisa.
Well, welcome, Ruth. We have just been kind of scouring the papers and looking at what's going on in engagegj.org and our candidates that are coming up in the April election. We are hoping to get all of them on before the ballots drop on the middle of March.
Middle of March, yeah.
And there were just some things, and all of them are having different kind of forums and different areas where they will be meeting with the public, and we advise you to look and check and see what all of them think and what they would be like in their leadership role in the city of Grand Junction.
Just weigh the pros and cons, because there are a lot, and you need to ask the right questions, but do ask the questions. It's very important.
So, Ruth, I know that a couple of weeks ago, you've been bothering me to read about the city purchasing the Salt Flats area, 450-28 Road, and they said that they did that in response to a growing housing crisis. And I think the housing crisis, it's across the board, but people have different ways of who they think should solve the housing crisis and how it should be solved. What are your concerns about the purchase of the Salt Flats and how it's going to be developed and what it's designed for?
Oh, my concern is that, first of all, we got a grant to do a majority of the purchase. However, the city has thrown in over $1 million to go ahead with this project. My concern is not only what they're going to put there, but how they're going to put it there and what they're going to have when they're finished with that project. I'm concerned about the type of housing that we're going to have in there. I read places where it says we're going to have a Duke's mixture of apartments and commercial and single-family homes, that kind of thing. And I have not yet seen any plans laid out for this.
Well, I know that they said they were accepting bids, and they said there were going to be between 324 and 500 housing units, and it was going to be designed everywhere from affordable, attainable, and market value. And I'm a little concerned that the city's getting into real estate development.
I agree with you 100%. I don't think that that's supposed to be the bailiwick of the city council.
Okay, and so, I know that part of it, too, is the area where it is designed to be. It's called the Salt Flats because of the alkali in the soil, correct?
That is correct.
And to get rid of that alkali, to be able to grow anything, because whether we want it or not, having grass and parks and whatnot makes
trees
makes it more desirable,
aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah,
Exactly. And you can't grow much of anything in the alkali. You would have to dig down several feet and replace all of that dirt with other dirt, and then over time, of course, the alkali will leach back up through in any case. So there is a huge problem about housing going in there if you're going to plan on having anything for parks, You're going to have a little lawn for yourself, or you can try to grow a garden, even raise a tree. That is difficult.
So what do you think that about the cost? Because I know that the city council said that they're going to have a shortfall in the next 4 or 5 years. And didn't we read that they have like $36.4 million more dollars that
We
they're
did.
asking for this year?
We did indeed read that.
So where is that coming from, and what does that mean to the people that we're trying to elect? I mean, what is this going to do for us?
Exactly. That's been a major concern of mine for a long time. I think we need to look very carefully at the people who we are going to elect in this next round of elections for city council, and speak to each of these people and ask these hard questions, and don't let them off the hook. They really need to be accountable for what they're saying. We need to have some kind of accounting, not only fiscally, but we need to have some kind of accounting morally.
And I know there's one group that's coming up. Western Slope Alliance is doing a presentation at Mesa County Library on the 8th of March, and their meeting is for just housing, is how they've worded it. And I guess some of my questions are we talking about just housing, like that's the only thing that we're talking about? Or is it just housing in that we think that there's unjust housing? And around this, they have sustainable, equitable, safe, and affordable housing. And one of the other groups that they have that are going to be participating is this Western Slope Youth Voice, which are kids in high school level. And while I appreciate their interest in what's going on in the community, they're not the people that are paying for the just housing. So I'm wondering, what is their role in this seminar or this forum, because it's for all of the people that are running for city council, because housing is one of the big issues
It is.
that they'll be addressing. So what's your opinion?
Well, I am kind of like you. I'm a little skeptical about using student input, high school and early college, actually, because these young people come and are going to high school here, granted, but they leave and go to college, or the college children come in, college young people come in, and they will get their education and they'll leave again. So my question is how good is their input? How good is their...
What's their skin in the game?
Yeah, what's their skin in the game? Exactly.
Yeah, and the Western Slope Alliance that is also sponsoring this, they have some goals that they've said, and I guess, again, everything to me is about, really what is your, maybe I shouldn't say it, but what's your agenda? And theirs is healthy, just, and self-reliant. And I'm wondering, when you say a healthy community, are you talking about the health of the people, or what does a healthy community
Look
mean?
like? What does it look like?
And just, are we talking just in terms of that everybody has an equal opportunity, or are we looking for an equitable outcome that regardless of where we have to give you a different starting place because we wanted the same outcome? And is that realistic, or is that what a community should be doing? Or
Right.
should we just make sure that everybody has the opportunity to achieve? And they also self-reliant. I'm not sure if that means environmental, that we're self-reliant in terms of our environment is self-reliant, or are we talking about in terms of people being self-reliant? And when we look at some of the housing and how we're trying to help people in that area, I would like to see some accountability in terms of, okay, we don't want anybody to go hungry. I mean, it's not
No.
and we don't want anybody to be cold or unsheltered or whatever, but I also want to know, when we're helping, how many are getting up and being able to move on and being able to integrate into the community and also participate, in the workforce, in the housing, in, tax paying and having a voice, as opposed to just keeping them in the situation that they're in.
Right. I agree with you 100% on that. They just had a survey that was just taken, supposedly taken on the 28th of January to try to figure out exactly how many homeless we do have in the area. So far, we have no report on that. It was supposed to be out within 10 days, and we're now at the 13th of February, and we have no results as of yet. So,
Be interesting to know how many we're serving and how they're being served, and also where the temporary shelter is supposed to be moving soon, and I haven't heard anywhere that it's supposed to be moving to, and how that's going to be paid for to take down and moved somewhere else.
Right. This all adds up to money, and with us looking at a shortfall, I'm wondering how much of this is really necessary.
So what were some other things that you've seen in the papers, or that they've been discussing that really we want to see what sort of a view our city council people have on that?
Right. I think Whitman Park is one of the issues that's coming up that I think we might need to take a look at. Whitman Park is, of course, as most of you know, the park that is actually between Ute and Pitkin and 4th and 5th Streets. And that's all of those being major thoroughfares. And what they're planning for that park and the money they're planning on spending there.
Didn't they say something between $3 and $5 million?
Between $3 and $5 million. And for what? I'm thinking that it's not going to be really usable because of the traffic. It's also not really usable because of the parking issue. There's a lot going on there. So I'm really wondering about that. And you might ask their soon-to-be new council members what they think about that situation.
And some of my questions, too, for our council members of the projects, if we want to get to where we don't have a shortfall, what changes do we need to make? I mean, where do we put money? Where do we take money away? Where are we going? Because if we have a shortfall, where are we going to get the money? Exactly.
And you only tax so much. I think we need to have our new city council, regardless of who gets in, take a real good look at what we are spending our money on and whether we as a city of Grand Junction need to be tending to those kind of things. I think we might be getting out of our lane a bit.
And I'm also wondering, I know that I've heard that there is a way that we could look at the budget, because I think since it's our money, that we should be able to look at the budget and understand the budget and where money is going in a timely fashion, so that we know where. And maybe on this salt flat purchase, when did we know that they were going to do this? And was there anything on engagegj.org that I missed? And
I didn't see it.
And that they've decided this is a priority and this is what we're doing. But again, did they engage the community to say, is this something you'd like the city to pursue?
Right, exactly. And then we keep thinking about things like our new rec center that's going in. We're still having to fund that. Right now, it's just in the stages of being built. They're driving pilings and that kind of thing. Pretty far down the road before we get there, and a lot of money to be spent there yet. Just different questions that we need to ask. What are our priorities? What are the things that we should be doing as a city?
Right. And how do those priorities reflect the values? I know that some of the people we've had, they said they want to maintain this friendly, small town community that people can thrive in, and they feel like changes that have been being made are more geared toward Eastern Slope mentality and the large cities, and not toward what Grand Junction's character and values are.
And we're hearing that from not just our public servants. We're hearing it from the members of the public. They're wondering what's going on here in Grand Junction.
And what say they might have.
Right.
Anything else, Ruth, that because there is just so much. I think another area where our new people, and I don't know how you do this, but there is so much going on, and we're always feel like we're running behind because they're like this purchase. They put out a press release, it's already done, and where's the input? And different decisions that they've made. People cannot be expected to read and do everything that, I think it's having to trust who we pick to be looking out for our best interest and looking out for the best interest of the whole rather than small groups.
Yes, it's critical because as a former person who was raising children and working and trying to make a living in this area, I didn't always have time to read everything that came on. I didn't always have time to look at engagegj.org. I didn't have those kind of privileges. I trusted that whoever was in office was doing what we expected them to do. That's why we voted them in. And I'm finding that isn't necessarily the case.
Mm-hmm. And what do you think is the best way to find out who we can trust and who we couldn't, and any changes that they could make? Because I know some people even say, well, they say one thing when they're running, they do something else when they're elected.
That's exactly right. We find that all the time. The only thing that I can think that you can do is attend any of these forums that you possibly can. Take the time out because it's critical for you and your pocketbook and your city to know who you're electing and who you're putting in. Ask the tough questions. Don't hesitate when you have a question to get a hold of these people and say, look, I'm curious about this. They've got email addresses. All of them do. The city has email addresses. Take the time out to just email them. If you can't go to these forums or any of these open houses that they're having, the meet and greets, take the time to email. Get their phone numbers, which a lot of them are on Engage GJ in the city of Grand Junction. Text them. Give them a call.
Right.
Make your voice heard, people.
Right. And get out and vote. And just as a reminder, I think everybody knows this, but when you have to live in the city, but if you don't live in the city, talk to your friends that do live in the city and say, I'm really concerned. This is affecting me too, and it will affect me in the future. Have you considered this candidate? We need to talk to each other about the candidates, I think.
We do.
Contribute, even if you live outside the city, to the campaign for the person you think will best represent you. And know that you will be voting, if you live in the city, for all of the candidates. So don't just think, well, I know about Cody Kennedy, who's running in my district, or Alexis, who's running in my district, same thing. So I don't need to worry about any of the other candidates.
Right.
You need to know all of them because you vote for all of them.
And you really need to stay aware as much as you possibly can. There are new annexes that are happening all the time. The Persigo wastewater project is starting to expand. Your taxes are going to go up. You need to know where your dollar's being spent, and it's being spent as wisely as possible.
I agree. So anything else that you want, and really, the only way that we can give you what you're interested in is if you like and subscribe and tell us, follow us, tell us what you think, what you'd like to hear about, what questions we should be asking. Like I said, we have coming up Ken Scissors next week. Mm-hmm. And then we have that followed by Randall Wrights.
Right.
And Cody Kennedy is supposed to be coming on. And we've requested that Alexis come on.
So far, we've not heard back from Alexis,
right.
But we're hoping to get her here. We want to give everybody a fair shake and try to get out the answers to the questions. And if you folks will like and subscribe and also
share,
comment as to what you would like to hear from these candidates, please let us know. Drop us a line. Put it in YouTube. Put it in Facebook. We're there.
Right. And Ruth, is the one that looks. So if you email me, it could be 7 to 10 business days before I look.
Well, and another source is to Mesa County Compass at proton.me. That's our email address for Mesa County Compass. It's Mesa County Compass at proton.me.
Right. So, as we always say, this is the truth as we see it, the facts as we know them, which in this case is more the opinions of us. So you decide. Thanks.
Thank you.